Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for another M8 Meetup. It's been probably at least 6 months, 7 months, 8 months since we had one before. But I have been busy working on a new version of the firmware, and I wanted to kind of share it all at once, put the beta out there, and we could begin testing. So I guess the first thing I wanted to talk about was pre-order holders that are still waiting for your pre-orders. July pre-orders should begin shipping still in July. I'm currently waiting for the batteries to arrive via sea freight. They've been in travel for the last 3 weeks, so hopefully I'll get it this week, and then I'll begin assembly and shipping them out as we assemble them. For September pre-orders, everything's still on track, and for new pre-orders, I'm planning on launching that as soon as we ship all of July's batch. So hopefully that answers everybody's questions in regards to that. Secondly, Mikey, I don't know if we want to talk about the shows coming up or if we want to do that toward the end of the meetup, maybe after the firmware stuff, so that way we don't keep people waiting.
Sure. Let's go through the firmware, and then we can talk about the music stuff right before the music.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, so let's begin about the new firmware. So this started off with just a couple features that I wanted to implement and that people have asked about, and then it kind of went off the rails a little bit, and I've ordered the features from least important to most significant. So I thought I'd have a little bit of fun with this. So the first feature for 4.0 is the play button behavior has changed. Before, if you hit play in the song, you had a song playing, and then you wanted to stop it while you're in the phrase, it wouldn't stop. Instead, it would start playing the phrase. And the same thing in reverse. If you're in the phrase screen and it's playing something, and you hit stop or you hit play again in the song screen, it would start playing the song instead of stopping. This is kind of a LSDJ kind of feature that I never really thought about, but we decided to just switch it up so that way, regardless if the sequencer is playing, hitting play again will hit stop. Hopefully that makes sense. I know my sine wave is pretty beautiful here, so let me just boop boop. All right. The next feature on the list is this new fancy instrument pool screen. Right here in the project view, there it says, instrument pool. You click on that. And basically what this is all of the instruments of the song, as well as their dry, chorus, and delay reverb volumes. You could quickly navigate over to the instrument screen by going shift right, so you could quickly go through the instruments. As well, you could click edit on any of the empty slots to load up a different instrument. And you could also browse over to samples. Let's see. This is my M8, so it has a bunch of random stuff in here. But I'm just like clicking and loading through sounds. Another thing you'll notice on the load screen, everything's already sorted alphabetically if the directory is small enough. So you no longer have to do the shift option shortcut to sort the screen. It'll do that automatically if the size of the folder is under, I think, 128 files or something like that. That might change during beta because sorting the files takes a little bit of time and it can be a little laggy. So depending on people's experience, if it's too laggy, maybe I'll shorten that to say, 16 or 32 files long, it'll auto sort. But yeah, the instrument screen, let me load up a song real quick to show you. Songs, demos, FME. So another way to get to the instrument pool screen is above the instrument screen. Above the mod section is also the instrument pool. Let me play this. And you could actually hold edit and move the cursor, and it'll allow you to resort your instruments. So if you have a really messy project and you want to move instruments around, this really enables that. And as well as preview. And the preview is kind of smart. It tries to find the first note of the given instrument and use that note as reference for the preview when you're previewing these. So you see right there, it's playing an A5. That's actually the first note that that instrument plays in this song. You could also do copying and pasting in here as well, duplicating instruments. Yeah, I think that's it for the instrument pool. It's just a handy way of managing your project's instruments. And of course, you could copy and paste values in here as well if you wanted to. Yeah. Let's see. Going through the list. The next thing is, I already talked about the auto sort file browser. Preload samples on song queue load. So, for those of you that know, while a song is playing, you could load up another song. And then, once this, there it goes. Once it hits the end of a chain, it'll play the next song. One of the issues is if you have like a song that has a lot of samples, or it first starts with just a bunch of samples, because it takes a while to load all those samples up, there's a little bit of lag there. And that's been removed by basically as soon as you select a song for the queued song load, it starts in the background loading in those samples. So that way it eliminates some of that lag. And I'll load up one of these stem songs I have here. So this song playing here is just a bunch of stems. So a bunch of long audio samples. This is another stem song. So it really helps with doing live performance with songs that use a bunch of stems, and those all need to be triggered on the first, very first row when the song starts. Yeah. Next feature is Trig envelope fast forward. This one's going to be hard to demo, and I was supposed to set this up beforehand so I didn't have to do all this legwork. Let's see. So if you have, say, you're using the Trig envelope, and this one's going to be triggered to volume with the amount. I'm going to do basically kind of a fake compressor setup in theory. The source will be instrument 2. Load up a sample. My personal SD card is such a mess. Let's see, drums, hits, TR-505 bass drum. That'll work. So I'm just setting up a simple thing here. Let me get rid of this volume envelope here. And you could hear that ducking happening. So the problem is if you have a Trig instrument set up and it doesn't fall directly in line with the instrument that's triggering that Trig envelope, then it would trigger incorrectly because it would trigger as soon as that instrument started and not when the instrument that's controlling it started. And now that's been fixed. So you can see how the Trig envelope now is actually still following the kick. So it's just a little bit smarter as far as the Trig envelope's concerned. I don't know, for those of you that ran into it. Apparently there's a technical issue with my voice. Microphone check 1, 2. We're doing this live, so if there's any issues, somebody text me because apparently I don't read Discord. All right, so we're moving on. The next feature is pitch mod destination amount small value additions. So let me set this up for you. So if we have like an LFO assigned to pitch, the problem was if you wanted like a really subtle fine pitch amount, you couldn't really get that. And so people were asking for like, can we have a destination for pitch fine? And I'm like, well, I could do that, but I'm kind of running out of destination slots. And it's pretty complicated to implement that on the back end. So instead, these really small amounts, say 1 through 5 or so, are scaled better. So that way there's more control over those fine amounts. Let me set up a fast LFO here. Let me get the pitch up. So you can hear that. It's pretty subtle down here. Trust me, that 1 and 2 is still there. It's just way more subtle than it used to be. But yeah, it's more of a nice... pitch was already exponential, but it's kind of just a better scaling of those low values. And your old songs, when they load in, their amounts will change appropriately. When importing it, it'll readjust, so you don't have to worry about it as far as old songs that use LFO pitch. Let's see. ADSR small value scaling. So I did the same kind of thing with the ADSR here. So on ADSR, these small values, you'll see here, they're really small, like 2 milliseconds, 4 milliseconds, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, etc. That didn't exist before. It used to start at like 32 or something milliseconds. So this gives you kind of a better grasp of doing really quick envelopes, as far as, especially if you're trying to like eliminate those kind of pop sounds that might happen to sine waves. These shorter attacks might be useful for you. And let's see what else we got. Drunk LFO shape no longer retriggers from 0. This was a suggestion by somebody and I agreed, so I decided to implement it. But if we have a trig envelope, or not a trig envelope, an LFO with a retrig, and we set it to drunk, which is just a kind of a random walk thing going on. It used to, when you have it set to retrig, it would always start from 0, which is kind of not as fun as if it started from a random position going a random direction. This is so terrible. It's fine. Let's see. Oops. Yeah, you get the idea. I think it's working correctly, but maybe I have this set up wrong. Anyways, you get the idea. It used to just always retrig, and then it would just slowly fade into wherever its new destination is, and now it'll actually hop around. Delay send effects now has mono-summed input. So our delay send here used to only work on the left channel because the delay input is mono, but it wasn't summing both left and right channels, and now it does. So if I set that to left, I think it used to be only left. So now it works regardless. Let's see. Yeah, I was hesitant to implement that delay send effects change because I knew it might, old songs might need to be adjusted because summing both your left and right channels will create a different volume gain. So I was waiting for kind of a more significant firmware to address that issue, and I thought that this was a good time to do so. You know, you kind of have to let the new features be worth the pain of adjusting maybe a couple delay sends. Let's see. Effects list redesign, you might have already seen this because I flipped through it real quick, but our effects list now has the current instrument effects, and then the instrument mods is a separate screen. So that makes it a lot easier to kind of go through those values. And then finally the mixer adjustments. Before, both instrument and the mods were all kind of combined into this list screen right here, and it was kind of a mess to find like attack of the second envelope, because you'd have to kind of like weed through all of these effects to find it. So this should make it a little bit easier. Let's see. All right, we're going into command effects. So there's a new command effects that works with ARP, and it's called Art, I believe. Yeah. So ARP is this kind of classic broken chord, slash chiptune, whatever arpeggio that runs at 1 tick speed, there's a new command called art, which sets the tick speed. Really simple, but makes art kind of more useful if you're not using the chiptune kind of stuff. Instrument. There's now an instrument effects command for, I don't know, somebody probably will figure out a reason to use this, but I figured it might be useful to have this. That means you could do, all instrument command does is just switch the instrument. So if I had this here and set it to 1, yeah. This might be useful in conjunction with chance and random, for those of you who are into that kind of stuff. As well, you could do that instrument switch in a table, which makes it extra confusing, but, have fun with that. The next one is GGR, wherever you may be. There it is. Global groove. So this will set the groove globally for the entire song. So before we had groove, which sets the groove for the current playing track, and now we have global groove, which sets all the grooves for the whole song. DJF command has been renamed to DJC, which is the DJ filter cutoff, and now we have DJ filter resonance and the DJ filter type. So I added these two, and by doing so, I renamed this from DJF to DJC. So we now have full control over the DJ, low pass, high pass filter that's on the main output. I know I'm flying through these, but we got a lot of ground to cover. If anybody has any questions, feel free to scream at Mikey and let him bear that responsibility. I'm just kidding. We'll get around to it. All right.
Yeah, we can have a little Q&A session in a little bit.
Let's see. What was I going to do? The rep command. So rep is probably my favorite command because it kind of breaks the typical tracker workflow, but it adds so much value for doing parameter automation. I'm going to set this up here. So I'm repping the cutoff here, so it does that nice smooth, thing. The feature that's been requested for rep is a way to stop it at a specific value, and now you can with a effects command called repeat to RTO. This allows you to set the absolute stop position of whatever the effects command is. So let's say 90, which would be up here. So it's a way to pause the rep command and or, have it stop at a specific amount. And that's it for the new effects commands, I think. Flying through. Another new feature is, we're getting into the more substantial stuff now, by the way. The next new feature is going to be the table tick FE mode. So if the table tick, it's set to 0, it's note increment. You set it to FF, it's 200 hertz. You set it to FE now, and it's note map. And what this does is the 12 tet notes are now mapped to the first 12 rows. Why you would want to do this? Maybe with some kind of sample sliced thing or something else. I'm sure you'll figure out a use for it. But I feel like nobody ever used FE before this. So that just gives us another option of doing some kind of note mapping manipulation. Let's see if I could demo this really quickly. You can see it's just holding at those values. I don't know what it's doing there. Oh, that's funny. So this might be a bug. We're testing this in real time because this is alpha essentially. But the note offset, of course, would then change the lookup position of the table, you know, you get a chicken and egg problem here if you start messing with the node. I didn't really think about that when I did this. So let's see though. Cut off, maybe. I don't know. You get the idea. It just looks up, you know. So now every time that, say, C sharp plays, it'll be a plus cut 30. All right. Next feature. Scales tuning. For those of you that like 432 and magical rocks. Scales now have a tuning offset. Let's see if I can find the scale screen. Here we go, right here. So if you want to, I think it does a plus. It only allows you a certain amount, but it gives you that kind of flexibility if you're doing microtonal stuff. It goes from standard 440 down to 420 and up to 460, I think. Yeah. So that just enables you to do, if you're doing a really complicated scale, for doing microtonal, that control's definitely helpful. Post filter limit. Oh, we're getting into the fun stuff now. So I added 2 new modes for the, I'm going to use Wavsynth for this. I added 2 new modes for the limiter here, and they're both post filter. So let's see, post AD, which is like quote unquote analog distortion. And then we have post R1 and post R2, and these are kind of like rectified quote unquote clipping modes. Just more distortion options for you. So here's R1 and what it does to the waveform. So it folds it back once and then goes to 0. And R2 looks like it folds it. I don't know what R2 does anymore. Looks like it folds it once and then goes to the edge of the upper or lower boundary. Maybe if I load a sample of some kind, maybe a loop, kind of gives you an idea of their flavor. I don't know what these are. That sounds good. Yeah, so they're going to be fun, especially when in use with a filter, because that gives you more interesting harmonic texture when things clip. But yeah, those are 2 new modes. All right, the next item is also pretty cool. Let's get out of here and go back to macro. Let's do simple. Yeah, simple boy here. And we're going to do an HD to cut off. I'm just setting up a simple low pass filter here. All right. So there's 2 new filters. They're both the same, just one's low pass and one's high pass, but they're past the end here. ZDF LP and ZDF HP. These are 0 delay feedback filters. So essentially all this means is characteristically, they'll have a slightly different shape to them when you're adjusting the cutoff. They have a slightly different sound. And because of M8's implementation, the cutoff kind of has a slightly different range. So it's just a different flavor of a filter. I think the most useful thing about the ZDF is with resonance set to 0, it sounds less resonancy than the old filter. But they're both the old filter and this new one, they're both kind of equal to me. Like not one of them is better than the other. They're just different flavors of the filter. The other thing with the ZDF is the resonance gets pretty peaky if you want to really drive it up. Compare it to the old one. And the new one. So just more kind of, you know, different flavor of the same thing. So there's a ZDF low pass and high pass variants. All right. We're going on to the even more exciting things. Let's see. How do I want to set this up? Wavsynth. You'll notice on Wavsynth, I renamed mirror to scan. And that's because previously, if you went above, there we go. If you went above noise, it would be oscillator shape called overflow. I got rid of overflow and instead replaced them with 60-something wavetables. These wavetables, each one is a set of wavetables of 64 different waveforms. So it's quite a bunch of stuff in here. And the scan parameter, which works like mirror for the lower shapes, it still does like PWM and all that stuff, it'll sweep through the wave, how do I word this? It'll sweep through the oscillators in each wavetable. So what I'm going to do here is set up a LFO to scan each wavetable. Let's slow this down. And you might think it's steppy, but if you actually slow this, if you limit the amount range here, let's say between a couple of the shapes, and slow this down, it's actually super smooth to warp between those different wave shapes. But of course, if we speed it up, it'll sound pretty. It'll start sounding pretty extreme here. Something else you'll notice with some of these wavetables is they kind of have like a zipper effect, like right there. And that's because on some of these sets, the start and end position of the waveform aren't set to the same value. And you could actually have M8 smooth that for you by just setting the warp parameter to 1. It's only because of how the warp parameter works that this does this, but it enables kind of a little bit smoother of a wave shape. Just a little special tip there if you want it. But yeah, there's just a ton of these, and I could paste in the image of what all these are. But yeah, there's a lot here to go through. Yeah. And it's all kind of like 8-bit because of the Wavsynth itself is 8-bit. All right. Should we move on? Or just like sit here and slowly jog through every single wavetable?
We could make a whole stream just listening to the wavetables.
Yeah. I'll let you guys experiment with that as a beta. We're moving on. All right. I only have a few more features left to show you guys, by the way. But we'll go ahead and do it. So how am I going to do this? I'm going to do that. So I have a different view here. So in the MIDI settings, screen has been kind of redone and shifted around because we now have a parameter here called control surface. Sync in and sync out are the same as they used to be. It's just the transport used to be a separate parameter and the sync input used to be a separate parameter, and now they're kind of put together as a menu item. So if you scroll through here, this enables clock, this enables transport, this is clock and transport, this is transport and song position pointer, which is how you link things for song position if you're using like Ableton, etc. And then the last option is clock, transport, and song position pointer. Same thing with output. So this is just a way for me to condense the screen down to fit in this new thing called control surface. Control surfaces are pretty cool, and the only thing I implemented so far has been the Launchpad Pro. I'm going to turn on the camera here so I could show you. I'm going to load up a song so we could look at this. about good old FME? All right. So let me move my microphone so I can do this. What this is set up like as just like an Ableton style grid. If you enable live mode on M8, by doing that, shift right thing, you could trigger each of the rows independently. The other thing it supports is mute and solo. These 8 buttons at the bottom are either going to mute or solo the given track. And it could act like this where it's not latched, or if you hold down shift up here, it'll latch the mute or solo buttons. Yeah. The other thing, so it supports basically the whole M8 song structure here, as well as the, scene cue buttons work as scene cue. This works actually in song mode as well. Just in song mode, you can't individually press the buttons for each chain. The other thing it does is if you hit the projects button here, you see on the M8 there, it now just jumps to the project screen. It doesn't ask you to save or load anything because it's expecting you to be using this as a live performance tool. So this is just, I think this whole thing, this control surface thing, the main feature for me is underneath the hood, it allows me to add other control surfaces in the future, as well as probably add other features for, say, the Launchpad Pro specifically. But so far, it's just for doing essentially live shows. Yeah, so if I go given time, maybe. Oops. There we go. And you can see it supports the bookmark icon. So this is the only row here that has a bookmark in it. Over here to projects, we'll load a different song. Yeah, you get the idea. It's basically just Launchpad support for M8. We're going to move on. I'm going to have a drink. Give me a second. No, not any Launchpad. Only Launchpad Pro Mark III. I forgot. I didn't also cover that how this is working is it's using both MIDI in and MIDI out, physical MIDI in and MIDI out, between the Launchpad and the M8. So the reason why it doesn't support the other Launchpads is because they're all USB. Launchpad Pro has micro USB A or TRS MIDI A, so it works out of the box. You just plug the inputs and outputs together and select it on the screen. There might be a feature for supporting other pads. I just had this one here, and this one has TRS-A, so it's a kind of an easy implement for me. It's also a pretty significant control surface. I like how thin the Launchpad Pro is, and it's got all those fancy RGB buttons. So, all right, we're moving on to the next feature. Let's see. I'm gonna load up a song. Should just do another demo. Yeah, no, I hate the demo songs. I've heard them too many times. They're not terrible. And Llama's new one that's on the new M8 is excellent. I just don't have it on this SD card. So, it's one of my old Weekly Beats tracks, but I'm just going to use this as demonstration. I've been hiding a feature from everybody, and I'm going to go ahead and enable it. Boo! So we now have a song EQ. This EQ is a 3-band equalizer, configurable, parametric, etc., and works in real time. Also supports the touchscreen if you wanted to get fancy. Each of the it's basically 3 generic slots here, and each one has a type. By default, I mean, I called them low, mid, and high, but they're essentially all the same. And it's just their default settings. Low is set up as a low shelf, mid is set up as a notch, and high is high shelf. But you could set these to anything that's available here: low shelf, notch, bandpass, high shelf, high cut. So it's just a configurable thing here. Another thing we have is in the effects settings screen, the chorus now has an equalizer, the delay has a new equalizer, and the reverb has an equalizer. Before, the delay had a basic setting of a high pass, low pass thing, and now it's just the full EQ. Its default settings are the same as what it used to be in previous firmwares. You can kind of go nuts with these settings. I wouldn't recommend it. All right. And finally, what we have is we have an EQ per instrument. Now, how instrument EQs work is there's 32 slots available for your song. You assign a slot to each instrument individually. So it's kind of a limitation in terms of RAM for me to fit an EQ per instrument on this thing. But it also enables, if you do a bunch of instrument cloning, all those instruments can reference the same EQ number. And it's the same 3-band, perfectly usable equalizer. There you go. Those are all the new features for Firmware 4.0. I already talked about the pool, Mikey. Oh, I guess you're right. The instrument pool also has the EQ assignment here. So if you wanted to, do your EQing on this screen, you could easily go through these and assign them here. And you could see which ones are assigned to what. As well, there is some commands here that were hidden before. You could set the EQ bank number. We call them banks. So again, there's 32 banks. You assign one bank per instrument, and then that's basically it. And then there's a EQ bank selection that allows you to switch it in real time if you want to. The EQ is not interpolated, which means that if you do fast switching, it will get clicky. But if you just have, whenever an instrument triggers, it knows how to handle that, and it's not clicky. So if you do instrument switching using the I column or the instrument command, and those instruments have totally radically different EQs, it'll sound perfectly fine. However, if you put it in as a command here, it might not sound perfectly fine. It might have a little snap as the EQ is, changing all three of those parameters in real time. So just keep that in mind. But there's an EQI command for instrument, EQS for changing the bank number of the song. The song doesn't really have a bank number, but it allows you to assign one of the numbers to the song if you want to do it as some kind of effect. Sorry if my voice cut out a bit here and there. I'm not sure if it did, but if it did, sorry about that. This is real time. But yeah, that's it. I am now opening up the floor for questions if we have any.
Yeah, I can just go through we have a Q&A thread in the Discord if you haven't seen it already.
I haven't looked.
And some users some users have submitted questions, so I'll just read them to you.
Thank you.
And I'll just go down the list because some of these questions got answered in the chats, but obviously not everyone is in the chat, so this will be a perfect way to get all those questions answered for everyone. So the first question was asking, is the auto sort something that can be turned off or disabled? I guess there's some questions in regards to different sorting.
Not currently, options. No, but I should have the shift was it shift option? Maybe I should have that as where it toggles it between sorted and unsorted. That's something we could look at during beta testing. If everybody hates it, I'm fine removing it. In fact, I'll remove everything. If you guys don't like it, that's fine.
I think we should just cancel everything.
I'm totally kidding, by the way. But yeah, no,
the
not
next
currently.
question. Oh, sorry. Apologies. The next question was, does shifting instruments in the instrument pool change the instrument in the phrase?
Switching, yeah, it changes. It's smart enough to do everything. So it'll change, like it'll reassign the instrument numbers, and if there's an instrument command, and across the board, it makes sure that you can move that instrument confidently, knowing you're not breaking your song. It'll also, if you have the trigger envelope, and you use the source column for the trigger envelope, it'll also change the source to the new number if that gets shifted around.
I also, I don't know if you showed off the new instrument column behavior, but you could check that out real quick.
I don't know what you're talking about.
When you edit up.
Edit up. From instrument?
From the instrument column, so it pulls up the pool in the phrase.
I totally forgot about that. Yeah, so there's, if you're editing instruments, how we used to do it is by going left and right here. Oh, that's so loud. If you go just like an effects command here, like if you hold edit and go up or down, it pulls up on the screen. The same thing happens with the instrument column now. If you push up or down, it just launches the instrument pool for you to select an instrument that way. Just a nice, faster way in theory of finding the instrument you're looking for in that column. Totally forgot about that. Thank you for reminding me.
No problem. Next question. Is it possible to create new instruments from the instrument pool instead of just loading presets?
I mean, you could scroll down to a blank column and just move it up. I don't know if that answers the question, but that just put in 2 new slots here for that.
It'd be like if you're in the project screen, you go to the instrument pool. Can you make a new instrument from that pool screen? Can you start a new
of course.
preset?
Yeah, so if you went to instrument pool here, you select a number and just go shift right, and then select the instrument. There you go. So I don't know if that answers the question or not.
But... That does answer the question. And there was a question, someone asked if you can get to the pool without making a chain or phrase, which is yes, from the project screen you can access the instrument pool.
Yeah.
Can you audition the instruments in the instrument pool page? I believe you just showed that.
Yeah. Yeah, you just hit start when the sequencer isn't playing, and it'll audition it. Well, those are blank. Yeah, you get it.
Someone asks, I think this is in regards to the tuning that you added to scales. Which pitch value corresponds to one tone now? I think before one,
it's A440,
tone.
So it's by default A440. So what this tune parameter is just an offset from A440. I don't know if that answers the question or not.
I'm not sure. This is beyond my brain.
Yeah, the default's A440. If you change anything here, it'll basically be an offset from A440. So.
The quick envelope for ADSR, does that also apply to AHD?
No, because AHD is tick-based, so a value of 1 is 1 tick, which is why it only applies to ADSR, because it's more of a time-based in seconds, milliseconds, so we could make it snappier there if we want to.
Great. I believe this got answered through one of the commands that got announced, but the question was, is there a way to hold a specific part of the wavetable with the new wavetable shapes, or Wavsynth shapes, excuse me?
Oh, yeah, I guess, yeah, if you were using rep or something to automate it, maybe, and then use RTO?
Rep2, yeah.
Yeah.
Solmair asks, which launchpad should I get?
Yeah, it's the Launchpad Pro Mark III. It's the only one that has MIDI TRS on it. The other thing you could do with that, I was thinking about that question about the wavetable and pausing it. I mean, if it's assigned to an LFO, then you could set that LFO's frequency, I think, to pause the LFO. That's That's another way to do it, I guess.
I think this one was answered, but I imagine, do you intend building on additional control surface support like Deluge or the Oxy?
I don't know how you would do Deluge, like as a Deluge as a control surface. I am not up to date on my Deluge, to be honest with you guys. I haven't updated since 2020 when I got kind of consumed by a new project I was working on. So, but if there is some kind of control surface way of implementing it, we could look at it. The important thing for me personally on the MIDI control surface thing is this is something that I can extend upon without too much hassle. So the plan was I want Launchpad Pro now because it's plug and play, it's easy for me to implement and get it done. I have some shows coming up. We have some shows coming up. And I just wanted it kind of there. Yeah, I know that this was a selfish feature for me personally. Sorry about that.
Apology unaccepted. Okay, next question is song EQ, or I guess is the main EQ, is it rendered or is it for live only? And is it pre or post limiter, pre or post GDAF?
It's before the limiter. So it goes, I think it goes mix volume, EQ, and then limiter, technically, if you looked at the signal flow. So it's not like part of the DAC or anything like that. It's actually in software, if that helps understand it.
Yep. There's another question about, I think you went over this with the EQ commands, but the EQ can be modulated. It's just a little snappy because it's not interpolated, right?
I mean, one thing you could do is I wonder if this works. Let me see if this control surface I have here is set up. Yes, it is. So you could MIDI map this if you wanted to. Like I just MIDI mapped the frequency to a MIDI controller I have here. Yeah, boop. Where's the... Oh, hold on. Technical difficulties. So I have a fader here. You can see me doing that. Oh. Yeah, you get the idea. But you can MIDI map it, and that's basically what you could do. But bear in mind, it's not interpolated between values, so it might sound a little glitchy depending on what you're doing. That's part of just the limitations of having it, which I think is totally worth it. So
let's see. I think this one was covered, but there's a limit of number of total EQ banks is 32, right?
Yeah, correct. So that sounds like not enough in theory, except for a lot of duplicate instruments or a lot of instruments are normally duplicates, and you would want them to use the same EQ normally, so that way you could control all of those duplicate instruments with the same EQ instead of having to tweak every one individually. So I think you should get a lot of mileage out of that. Yeah, I'm not too worried about it.
Let's see. Does the new play button behavior affect previewing projects at all? I guess they're asking if they're able to preview projects without holding a play button.
It's the same in the browser. If you want to preview something, you hit the play button. Yeah. So all that EQ... play button thing affected was just when you're switching in between phrase playback and song playback, and you hit the play button expecting it to stop the song, and instead it starts the phrase back and forth, either one. We've all been there, I'm pretty sure. Now it just stops it, and if you want to play the phrase, you hit play again, etc. So it should be a usability improvement. If somebody has a gripe about it, feel free to explain your gripe in details, and I'll think about it.
Does using the instrument EQs or interpolating the wavetables tax the inmate's CPU processing that much?
Hell yeah. I added basically there's 8 tracks, right? So I added 16 because they're stereo tracks. I added 16 3-band equalizers, and then like 4 more for the effects and the song. So yeah, that does eat a bit of CPU. If you do have a CPU issue, like the screen's drawing really slow on a certain part in your song, let me know, and we could probably try to optimize it further to try to reduce those issues. But it should be fine in normal use, in theory. We'll see during the beta, like, I mean, on technical backend side, I try to hide CPU use because I think CPU use is not something we should think about in terms of hardware. It should just work as expected. And if it doesn't work as expected, you report it to me or to the beta, and then we'll figure it out. But technically speaking, the EQ, I think, adds about 2% CPU, 2 to 3%, which is pretty insignificant in terms of what it offers in return.
All right, give me just a second. I'm scrolling through some more of the questions. Apologies, chat. I am not going to ask questions that are basically feature requests. So give me a second just to kind of find the next one. Someone asked, does the rep2 command stop it at the value on that step, or when the rep reaches a specific value on a future step?
It stops it when it reaches a specific value in the future. So you could put the RTO right after the rep, and now the rep knows once it reaches that specific value, it'll stop at that point. So normally in use, I imagine it right after the rep command, but you could put it kind of anywhere during the rep, and it'll be like, oh crap, I went over, and it'll, pause it or whatever. So hope that answers that question.
Let's see. The LFO parameter change, was that just for pitch, or is that all value changes such as pan and volume?
It's specifically when it's mapped to pitch. Pitch, I don't remember the exact number. I think it's like 48 note. Like if you set the amount to full on an LFO or on an envelope to pitch, I think it's like 4 octaves or something like that, big. And so pitch of 1 would be 1 note, pitch of 2 would be 2 notes. I don't remember exactly the details. It's somewhere around there. But those low values weren't really useful at the time. I think how I mapped it, because it would immediately go from nothing to something. And I know a lot of us wanted kind of a more granular pitch adjustment for that. So it's literally just the pitch mapping for that specific use case.
Let's see. I kind of have an answer for this one, but I'll just
go ahead and answer.
Are there effect commands for controlling EQ at the track and/or instrument level? The answer is no, but you have internal MIDI, and since the parameters are MIDI mappable, you could.
Yeah, the problem is exposing any of those parameters to effect commands. Like, it's a lot of parameters, first and foremost, and then secondly, they're not interpolated. And whenever I use a synth that doesn't have interpolated values that allow you to set it, I'm always like, oh man, this sounds like crap, because then I can't I can't turn this knob without it sounding jittery. It needs to sound smooth. So normally in DSP, you basically smooth out the values, so that way it always sounds like a natural change between values. And the EQs do not have that enabled, because that uses a lot more CPU than what we can afford. So, but in a normal situation, you just kind of want to trim your sound when you're working on a sound. You don't want to automate your EQ. But you can. If you want to go that route, you can use MIDI mapping as a workaround. It's there if you want to use it. It could potentially sound like crap depending on how you're using it. So I kind of left it there as a feature you could experiment with, but not something that is supported through the UI directly.
I think it says, can you? Okay, last question. I think this is the last question. I'm skipping over a couple that are just sort of semi-loaded feature requests, and I'll answer those later. But the last question I see here is, can you rep an RTO to the new tune offset?
Tune offset is not parameterized. There's no effects command for changing the tune of a scale. You can only switch the scale that's currently being used.
There you go. I think
that might be a cool future thing to be able to do that, for sure, to be able to warp the whole song into chaos. But yeah, but not currently, no.
And I believe that is the last question that I could find. So unless there's another one that I missed from the other mods, let me know. But I think that's it. Yeah.
Is that also including questions in Twitch?
I'm sorry, I have not been able to look at Twitch because I've been reading just the Discord questions.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. Okay, so yeah, I think we should go ahead and talk about maybe the shows coming up, and then go into user submitted bundles. And I would like to mention the user submitted bundles will be played on the new alpha firmware, because I figure, I don't know how many people are currently listening, maybe a couple hundred, but hey, if it messes up and crashes, it's on me. I don't think it will, but it's always fun to take that chance, because a lot of people use this thing for live performance. So if it does crash, I would really like to know. So if your song plays slightly wrong, also maybe make a note of it and ping me or something. It shouldn't, though. And if it does, it's probably because the new feature is more worth it or whatever. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But yeah, Mikey, you want to talk about the shows coming up?
Sure. So we...
Rip.
Sorry about that. I clicked off to look at the details, and I realized I have a phone in front of me, and I could just do that. So, Seattle, up in Seattle, we have thrown it, shows up here under the name Pacific Noiseworks, and we have asked Trash 80 to come perform at our next event, which is happening August 23rd at the substation here in Seattle. There's quite a nice lineup, but I figured people would be excited to come see you play. This is the first time you played in, what, 4 years or so?
Since pre-pandemic. I think the last show I played was the beginning of 2020. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
But there'll be also other performances as well. Let's not talk about me.
Yeah, yes, of course. And then the day after, on August 24th, we're doing a sort of a meet and greet additional Q&A session in person at Patchworks, which is the local synth shop here in Seattle. So that will be August 24th. If you're on the Discord, we have a new forum section that's specifically for live shows and hangouts, and there's a thread for it currently called the Wave.fest August 23rd in Patchworks Meetup. So if you have questions, or if you want any more details, please come there and ask, and happy to fill you in.
I'm looking for the page now.
I can copy and paste it.
Yeah, where's the link? There it is. Because I want to know who else is playing that show. Oh, okay. Danimal Cannon, EasyBot, myself, Mystic Panda, Azura Sky, Sleepy Pattern. Is that Sleepy Patterns? I can't read that font.
It's Sleep Pattern.
Oh, okay, sorry about that. And Akin Bleeps. Bleep.
That's right.
I can't
Welcome
read
Bleeps.
this font. Who
I'm
designed
sorry.
that? No, I'm kidding.
It was Kino. You can...
No, it's great.
Yeah, like
it's great.
Kino.
I'm sorry. I just can't read the font in real time because I'm terrible at reading things.
So I think that's it. Are we ready to do some showcase?
Did we talk about the Japan show?
Oh yeah, there's another show, September 7th in Shibuya, called the M8 Fest, and I believe as it sounds, every performer will be using the M8, and the lineup is huge. I don't have the list on me, but it's September 7th at Circus in Shibuya.
Yay! All right, is that it? Is that all we wrote? No more questions? Bundle time?
I think that's it.
Sweet. Now watch me in real time as I mispronounce everybody's artist names and song titles. What is that? This one, right? Yeah, that's us.
That's the one.
First timers. All right, up first we have Atalhlla with Spacey Juice. Also, let me know if the level needs to be tweaked for this stuff, because we haven't done any prep for this. That was awesome. Thanks so much for sharing. I'm going to do a quick audio check just to make sure that we're okay. Hopefully I streamed your song in what was expected, but people complained that it wasn't in stereo. So I just want to make sure that we're set up correctly and that we're not clipping. While I'm doing this, I will say that one of the things that I've always done with my live sets, is the first. I used to use Octatrack live, and I used to use a lot of gear with it. And I had one song specifically for doing sound check on stage. It would test all of the song, quote unquote, would test all the instruments, I/O and MIDI, and it would test like a nice hard 4 on the floor kick, etc., etc. And in that way, I knew I could jump off the stage and even listen to it if I wanted to. But I knew if that song played okay, then my whole set would be fine. It's something I need to do for M8 for the upcoming shows, but I thought it was a nice tip for those that haven't done something like that before. So this should be panned left, especially on Twitch. I don't know what Discord's audio is like, but that should be right, left. This is a low bass note. I'm going to turn it up and turn down the volume a bit. Is that in stereo? All right. So we're good with that. Does a sine wave sound like a sine wave, or does it sound like garbage? I guess that's the next question. All right, we're okay. I'm going to continue playing people's bundles. I thought that might be a nice segue to share that information. Yeah, because I still need to do that for my set. I'm like, crap, I need to build this up. And it would work for these streams too, because then I could just run this test, to test the stream. But anyways, the next song coming up is by Bruce Menace. Song's called Hurt You.
I just want to hurt you. You're hurting me so good that I just want to hurt you. Yeah, 'cause I just want to hurt you. You're hurting me so good that I just want to hurt you. Yeah, but I just want to hurt you. You're hurting me so good that I just want to hurt you. Yeah, 'cause I just want to hurt you. You're hurting me so good that I just want to hurt you. But I just want to hurt you. You're hurting me so good that I just want to hurt you. Yeah, 'cause I just want to hurt you. You're hurting me so good that I just want to hurt you. But I just want to hurt you. You're hurting me so good that I just want to hurt you. Yeah, 'cause I just want to hurt you. You're hurting me so good that I just want to hurt you. Yeah, 'cause I just want to hurt you. You're hurting me so good that I just want to hurt you. Yeah, 'cause I just want to hurt you. You're hurting me so good that I just want to hurt you. Yeah, but I just want to hurt you. You're hurting me so good that I just want to hurt you. Yeah, 'cause I just want to hurt you. You're hurting me so good that I just want to hurt you. Yeah, but I just want to hurt you.
All right, sorry about that glitch at the end. I was having some remote display issue there that I needed to reset. Thank you so much for submitting that track. That was amazing. That again was Bruce Menace with Hurt You. By the way, all these first tracks here are people that haven't shared an M8 song for the meetup before. So we prioritize those people to kind of give them a spotlight versus repeat submitters. So next song up is, I believe, Decay with Couldn't Be You, or is it Couldn't Be You from Decay? I don't know which. Let me see. I just want to get these right. I can't read the list. Artist name is Couldn't Be You. Song name is Decay. Thanks, Mikey, for getting it right, and sorry, me, for assuming it wasn't. Awesome. Thank you so much for submitting. That again was Couldn't Be You, or that was, yeah. Couldn't Be You with the song titled Decay. Sorry about the display glitch. Let me clean that up real quick. I don't know what's going on. It's my new Touch Designer project, and it probably has some bugs in it because this hasn't really happened to me here before. It could even be a bug with 4.0. I don't know. It's not on the actual display, by the way. It's just the remote client I'm using here for this 3D model. Next up, we have DDMM64 with Overhyped. Oh, it's got a line input, doesn't it? Let me turn this down. We don't need that. Awesome, awesome. That apparently was just using the Hypersynth synth engine. Super impressive and sounded super full and great. Thank you again for submitting. That was DDMM64 with Overhyped. And again, with this screen glitch, I feel like it's going to be a constant. By the way, my streaming setup is really, really complicated to be able to do all of this I/O back and forth, so I wouldn't be surprised if my computer's just also hating life right now. Oh, did I skip one? Yes, I did. Here we go. This next song is Euphemism with Happy Sirius. Awesome. Thanks so much for sharing. That again was Euphemism with Happy Sirius. Sirius. Don't mind me, I can't read. Man, what's up with this drawing issue? There we go. I guess it's one way to test things, right? This next song is by Fishtorch with track 00. Beautiful. And a haunting. Thanks for sharing so much. That again was Fishtorch with track 00. Let me know when you release track 01. We'll play it on the meetup. This next one is by Kaibuster with a Techno No number 3. Oh, Techno number 3. Out of respect for this track, I'm going to restart it because I accidentally touched the screen and apparently it was mapped to the DJ filter. Sorry about that. Thanks so much. Yeah, sorry about that beginning. That was Kaibuster with Techno number 3. By the way, for the beta, I'm going to release the specs and the beta probably after this first set of projects, perhaps. Next up, we have Mad Operator with Purist. All right. Thank you for your submission, Mad Operator with Pursuit. Sorry, did I say Purist last time? I think I did. Again, apologies in advance. Y'all know this. I can't read worth a damn. This next one's by Mulperi with Vortex Force Ultra. Again, I hear the input. Let me just boop. Awesome. Thanks so much for sharing. Love getting a little bit of kind of demo scene chiptune in here. That was Mulperi with Vortex Force Ultra. Next up is Octopod with Bus Stop. right. Thank you for sharing that song. That again was Octopod with Bus Stop. Let's see, we got 3 more before we switch to the second set of songs. Next one is Rum Raisin with Lemon Slices. I should have let that crash right out. I didn't realize it was going to stop so nicely. That again was Rum Raisin with Lemon Slices. Thank you again, everybody, for submitting your songs to share with us for the bundle for this meetup. I think some of you marked that you're okay with sharing them. I don't know how we'll arrange that as far as the submitted bundles go, but we should figure that out. Next up is Spark with thoth. Thanks again for submitting. That last track was by Spark. This next one is by Twwi, I assume. Twwi with reverbed. Reverb. There we go. I did it. You guys are proud of me. That was rad. That again was Twwi or TWWI with Rereverb. Ugh, I can't say that fast. Rereverb. Or as I like to call it, reverb. All right, that's all of the... well, actually, I've been told that some of the first-time submissions didn't make it into the first-time list. They're in here somewhere, so sorry about that. We need to add... This is our first meetup where we had like a Google form for submitting the stuff, and I think we need to... We're going to expand that for the next meetup. Yes, planning another meetup, hopefully soon. Look at that, like everything's set up now with the new fancy 3D model and all that, so we should do another meetup soon. Did I play this one already or no? No. This is aliatheseer, sorry, with simulacra. I think simulacra. You guys do this to torture me, don't you? Oh, I'm kidding. Thanks again for submitting your tracks, everyone. I really appreciate it. hiding the screen in shame. That track was amazing. Oh wait, I need the screen to see what the hell it was called. That again was aliatheseer with simulacra. God, I'm so sorry. Hold on, let me. Man, that was some serious screen glitch. Next one's up is by Blue Wolf 7 with Æðelwulf. Wow. I love the textures in this one. Thanks again for submitting your song. That again was Blue Wolf 7 with Æðelwulf. Next up we got Brightface with Interleaver. This looks like a one-track song too. Whoa. That was some, as I think somebody else said, wizardry for sure. That was crazy, especially that chord breakdown was badass. Was that all hypersynth? Yeah. Thanks so much, Brightface. You are amazing. Next one is Disposable Planet with Miss Linda Lee.
Welcome to Wizard's Castle.
All right. Thanks again. Disposable Planet with Miss Linda Lee. Next track is Eridon with Dark Gummy. This looks like something that this doesn't like. Hold on, let me figure out a solution. No, that doesn't work. It's probably something to do with the reps, maybe? Am I losing my mind? This track is too powerful. And maybe this is finally a bug with the new firmware. Let's try to clear that out and load it again. Nope. I wonder what it is. That definitely didn't work. Wait, let me check out the MIDI settings. No. I want to play it. I could downgrade or unplug this M8, and then I risk not being able to play any songs if that breaks everything. Let me see if there's something weird going on. That works. Oh, there we go. I could just play the tracks and figure out. So it is something with this boy. This doesn't look like anything crazy. Let me clear out the reps real quick just to see. That works. So it looks like a rep with nothing there just breaks everything. What would happen if I skip it for the first run and then try to bring it in? Because I really want to play everybody's songs. Let's try it. What do you think? Should I try it or should I just switch M8s with a downgraded firmware? Yeah, we'll see if it breaks on other things. I wonder why rep 00 didn't change anything. Oh. Whatever. Beta testing real time. I'm going to go ahead and switch M8s. I think that's probably the best solution just to make sure everybody's songs play good. We got that far though. That's pretty good. I think it's just, it doesn't like... Yeah, well, you're right. Maybe I could try rebooting the M8 and see if that fixes it. Here, let me do that. Nope, that did not fix it. I don't even have to refresh the... So I'm going to switch M8s out. Sorry, everybody. You win a prize, and that is... Shit, I don't even know. Oh, crap. You know what? It is the MIDI interface. All right, that's a MIDI feedback. I'm not entirely sure why, though. I'll look at that later. As soon as I unplugged the MIDI cables, it started playing. So I'm going to keep the MIDI cables unplugged and just play through the rest of the songs. Let me reload, figure out where I was, and then I'll start back up the remote display. Let's see. What song was that? Dark Gummy. Yeah. Yeah, it plays now. Okay. I'm going to get this going again. Boop, boop, boop. Yeah, so some kind of MIDI feedback loop was happening. Interesting. I'll look at that later. All right. This song, again, is Eridon with Dark Gummy. Thanks so much. Give me a second, guys. I think I see a little issue with my remote display. Let me see if I can fix this without breaking the world. There we go. All right. So that was Eridon with Dark Gummy. Again, sorry about the technical difficulties. Some kind of MIDI feedback loop happened there. All right, stop playing. Jesus. This next song is by Fark with Verdens Ramen. Super great. Thank you for sharing. That again was Fark with Verdens Ramen. I'm trying my best. Next up, we got Jalex with O.O.P Basement, or O.O.P Basement. Thank you so much. That again was Helix with O.O.P Basement. Next up is Glitch Pop with Plastamock. Oh, Jesus. Plasma Shock 3. It's hard to read these ones that are like just combined words into one single word. Like, what? I know. I should have faded that out. I'm sorry. Thank you so much. That again was Glitch Pop with Plasma Shock 3. Here we got Graz with Ultra Liminal Massive. I know this is Graz, so I'm going to prepare by turning down the volume a little bit. Do I start here? Is it going to magically hop over? It's not going to magically hop over, is it? Well, you weren't lying about the song title. Thanks for submitting. That again was Graz with Ultra Minimal or Ultra. Hold on, Ultra Liminal Massive. Up next, we have Ineffable with Voices of Distraction. Again, if you guys shared a bundle that we played, I don't know how we're going to do this, Mikey, but we need to try to link them for the YouTube when everything gets uploaded there. But, which means we would need like artist link or something. I don't know. Something to think about. All right. I lulled at that end there. Did I stop it too soon? I don't know. Thank you so much. That was amazing. That again was Ineffable Twaddle, I think, with Voices of Distraction. Next up, we got Jangus. Help me out. With Eddie Munsters and Mud Puddle. Eddie Munsters Mud Puddle. Whoa. Thank you so much. That was awesome. Ooh. That again was Jangus's Eddie Munster's Mud Puddle. Next up, we got Jim Mack with Special Ham. Its textures were great. Thanks for sharing. That again was Jim Mack with Special Ham. Man, we have so many submissions. I'm getting tired. I need another drink. I think that's what I need. Next up, we got Chris Shamlu with Spectral Pine. Thank you. I'm going to blame a cat real quick for tail running into cable and slightly disconnecting the M8 output. Thanks again for submitting that song, Chris. That was Chris Shamu with Spectral Pine. Next up, we got Layer with Nanopasta. Sorry about that. I should have let that tail out. That again was layer with nano. Nano pasta. I assume that is a random name. Next up, we have Liminal Eris with 4-track. That again was Liminal Eris with 4-track. Thank you for sharing. I really like the FM manipulation on that one. It was kind of like a 2-track with switching in it. Pretty neat. Sorry, everybody, if I sound tired, because I am. Next up, we got Logan Manstream with LM004. Oh. Ugh. Look at me. Amateur. All right. That song was by Logan Manstrain with song title LM004. Next up is Mikey303 with Scramble. Special thanks for Mikey for helping me host the stream and get the bundles together and rearranging our whole Discord experience. I really appreciate you and all of the moderators' time spent on our Discord. I think it makes it a great place, and I very much appreciate it. All right, this is Mikey with Scramble. Jesus. Delivers on the 303. Thank you, Mikey, for submitting a track. That was a Mikey 303 with Scramble. We have here Nutty Dubs with Death, I believe. Oh man, I stopped it early. That was awesome. Thanks again. Nutty Dubs with Death. That's Death, right, guys? It's either that or a D3TH. All right. We have Rats Rebook with Faye. All right. Thanks so much for submitting the track. That was Rats Rebook with Faye. Only 3 more to go. This next song is by Soulmare, Sanity-Metrics. Sanity-Metrics. Was great. Thank you. It was Soulmare with Sanity-Metrics. Next up, we got that Ranjit with Heatwave.
information. Sirius, in which we hear weather signs or various exist chaotic mess iron others in which we exist or and humanly cognize.
Nice. I really like that track. Thanks for submitting your bundle. That was at Ranjit with Heatwave. All right. Last song. If we didn't get to your bundle, we will do it again in the next couple coming weeks. I'm looking at either this next weekend or 2 weeks from now is what I'm thinking. Probably 2 weeks from now. Actually, let me look at the calendar again. The only weekend I can't do it is the weekend of the 20th. But so either the 13th or the 27th. We'll figure it out and we'll post it and let you know. Thanks so much, everybody. This is Xavier with The Disappearance of Mr. Frog. Lovely name. amazing. Nice track to end our meetup with, I think. Thank you, everybody, for showing up. Thank you for submitting your bundles. Hope you are not super disappointed with V4. I know everybody was doing like crazy speculations, but you know, there are limitations. Shout out to Mikey303 again for helping me out, and everybody else, Avril Cadabra. Yeah, everybody, Null Sleep and Impbox and everybody helping out with the Discord in general. Leo and Silodux. Yeah, thanks everybody. Really appreciate it. All right. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday or Saturday, wherever in the world you are. And we'll be posting this to YouTube in the next couple days for those that missed kind of the roll through of all the features of version 4. The beta has been posted to the beta channel if you want to check it out. Yeah. Thank you, everyone, and I'll see you in a couple weeks. Bye.